was a gun.
Not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
Hi, my name's Nancy. It's Nancy Richards, and I'm the founder of Women's Zone.
My name is Katha Sally. I'm 18 years old and I'm a young Oryx radio reporter at Red Cross.
I'm Karen Smith from WAND, and it stands for Women's Achievement Network for Disability.
I'm Kaka Matuma. I'm a young lady living with a disability and I'm also part of Oryx Radio.
Hello, I'm Hilary Lane. I am a person with a disability and I'm passionate about improving the lives of other women with disabilities.
Being disabled for me, when I was young, I didn't notice that I was different from other kids because I grew up in Eastern Cape and all the kids saw me normal. Then when I came to Cape Town for medical reason, I started to see that yes, I'm different because of how kids saw me. And yeah, it's fine now because I'm in Yantru school and there's a lot of support there because there's a lot of kids with THD, some are in a wheelchair, so it's nice to see people around you like treating you normal. So yeah, that's my story.
For me, I've just led a normal life my whole life. Despite people saying when I grew up, you can't, you won't. But somehow I just learned to ignore the naysayers. So when I grew up in a small town called Mossel Bay, I often used to sit on my mom's stoop and dream about getting married one day, dream about getting a job, dream about going to study Hillary. Those were my dreams. Whereas for other people, I see my friends, they've got families, children. It's just like the run of the mill. You grow up, you go to school, you go to varsity, you get married, you have a career. But for me, as a person with a disability, I didn't always see it like that because people kept quiet. When I was in matric, nobody asked me, so what are you going to do after matric? And my guidance teacher even said to me, he's not going to apply for me for a bursary because I have a so-called disability and the universities won't accept me. This was very long ago, in the 80s, pre the EE Act, pre the Bill of Rights, so really. But I've been in, working, I have been in management positions my whole life. I've been in the telecommunications industry for the last 20 years. I head up a division. I attend conferences. I'm an industry expert. Globally, I will speak on accessibility. What does technology do for persons with disabilities? And then currently, I'm doing my PhD in mobile technology for persons with disabilities.
The psychological thing of having a disability, or let me say first, there are two things. There are two types of disabilities. They take on different forms. The one is you're born with a disability, and the other is you become disabled. So if people ask me what it's like, I have cerebral palsy, and they say, what's it like having cerebral palsy? And I go, I don't know, because when you ask what's it like, you're comparing it to something that isn't. Well, I've always had cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy, the injury to the developing brain. When does the brain develop? It develops in uterus. So oftentimes the injury to the developing brain is caused at birth. And that's often caused by women having high blood pressure. While she delivers, she can have a seizure, which can cause a lack of oxygen. But there are lots and lots of different reasons for the cause of the cerebral palsy. I won't go into them right now.
Basically, I wasn't born with the disease, but when I was 7.5 years old, my parents took me to a doctor because I became really puffy. So they found out that I have a kidney problem. So then I was basically in and out of hospital, and then afterwards I was on dialysis for 8.5 years. So basically being on dialysis was a nightmare, going to primary school going to school and having a disease doesn't work well together. Then I actually graduated primary school and then had to wait until 2015 when I got my kidney transplant. And then actually I thought everything was going well and everything, but then I got bad news again that your kidney might be rejecting. And then, I prayed and I prayed very hard to God. And then he heard my prayers and everything's better now.
People are afraid of people with disabilities. There is an assumption that if you're physically disabled, you're intellectually screwed up, for want of a better word. And that is something we've grown up with. And, just before we got talking, we were discussing the comments we've received, particularly Corinne and I, who both had children, and the sort of comments, like, can you really get pregnant, and all sorts of stupid things. And then the other side of the dichotomy is that we look at people with disabilities and think, wow, they're amazing. So it's interesting that if you don't know a person with a disability, you assume. Now, what does the word assume mean? A-S-S-U-M-E. You make an ass of you and me. That's what assume means.
My parents, because my parents divorced when I was 4, so I grew up with a single parent, in a single parent family. But my mom coped well, but I know that there's quite a toll on the parents of persons with disabilities. Especially in my case, just with my mom raising us, my brother and myself, she has to work to get money, and then obviously my father played no role, and that is often what happens. The stress on the marriage is so intense, and a lot of time one of the partners will just cop out and leave, in my case, my mom to look after me. And I've got rheumatoid arthritis, so we lived in a small town and all the specialists were in Cape Town. So every 6 months, Hilary, we had to take the train from Mossel Bay, my mom and myself, come up to see the specialist here. And that was difficult because she couldn't hold a proper job. She couldn't really establish a good career. She used to work in a fish and chips shop, and whatever job she could get just to make ends meet. And then I would stay in hospital, in Princess Alice Hospital. That's where I literally grew. I grew up there in that hospital in my whole primary school years, and her having to come and visit me. So, but I can say that she coped, but I also realized today, being a mom, that it was extremely difficult. And fortunately, she had lots of sisters and support system from our family. But yes, it wasn't always easy. Fortunately, we lived near the sea, so that was sort of our keeping us sane. And we were happy overall. It's only now that you're older and you're looking back, you realize, and being a mom, I understand why she was so protective over me, because now I've got a daughter and I'm now protective over my daughter, who's not disabled, who needs to go into the world one of these days. And I'm already like thinking, oh my goodness.
If you walk into a room where people don't know you, how do you deal with it? Do you find that people come to you and say, hello, what's wrong with you? Or do they ignore you? How do you deal with that, with ordinary people?
And so I just start the conversation with them. But most of them just ask me, so what's wrong with you? What's that on your neck? And then I explain to them. It's actually nice when people ask you. And then because you can just explain to them, and then it makes you also feel good, like this person is not assuming. He actually took their time to ask me, and they want to know more about you. So it's nice when people ask, like, what's wrong with you? All that stuff. So I just start the conversation, and yeah.
But usually if they ask me, they usually concerned about my size, or why are you so short? And I'm like, oh, because I have a kidney disease, and sometimes it affects your growth. And then they're like, oh, but then like I don't still go into detail if they don't ask me about the details. Yeah.
Have you ever had any psychological assistance? Has anybody ever suggested it? Has it something that you feel you would like?
I do actually. We have like this sister that comes to it because every Tuesday when I got my transplant, I used to have she would come I think Tuesdays, and then we would go to have groups with other children as well that had transplants and stuff like that, and then that was like your moral support so that people that had transplants before you could tell you like what it's like and tell you the process of what's going to happen now and things like that.
So the way that we pass or that I pass on knowledge or encouragement to younger disabled persons is by hosting an annual workshop for girls with disabilities here at Artscape. So it's facilitated by Marlene Leroux and myself, where we as businesswomen with disabilities give back to girls with disabilities. It's important for us not to just tell them certain things, but these girls should really experience that they can also go into life and have a fulfilled life, that they can have dreams and that they can set goals. So we've reached about 260 girls so far. We treat them, we give them goodie bags, we give them a microphone to talk over. We ask them what are their dreams. We ask them to share it with us because not often they are being asked what are their dreams. Although today there's so much better opportunities, Hilary, for young people with disabilities than when you and I had our disabilities. In those years, there were no learnerships, there were not this awareness, no social media. There was a lot of stigma about disability. Yes, unfortunately today still, but I think now people are more exposed to it. They're more having conversations at least about it. And that is the benefit. So I would say that for me, as persons with disabilities, even you young ones, I always say we've got a role to play to influence society. We can't just expect society to change for us all the times. We got to stand up. Even you can be a role model for your peers, just as what I can be. And we can facilitate change. We mustn't just wait for the world for us to change.
My specific dream is that everybody just would listen to one another a little bit more carefully and be a little bit more understanding about other people. And that would be my dream, if everybody could just listen a bit more.
My dream is that more women should bring each other up instead of bringing them down. And a personal dream of mine is to want to become a head specialist at Red Cross Hospital.
My dream is for South Africa to be a truly inclusive society where we don't put people such as persons with disabilities in boxes, but that we see them as first-rated citizens. And then a personal goal for me is I really, really would like to still travel the world.
My dream for me is for people not to see other people as disabled, just to see them as people the way they are. And my dream is to be a businesswoman one day.
My dream for women with disabilities is to network more, to share each other's situations, to support each other, and to let the world know that we are all one. Thank you.
Yeah, Z, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.